Well, here, we'll try it one more time. Here goes. Hey, we got audio. Hey, we got audio. So let's mute it for a second so it stops any feedback, and we'll get Mike on here, and you guys can go live. There you go. You want to put your hand up to verify visual. There you go. All right, we'll drop this down so you don't have a huge audio chaos. You want to put your hand up to verify visual.
Hi everybody, my name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. Thanks very much for sticking around. I just love change so much. It's so much fun to have new things to have to figure the fuck out last fucking minute. Oh, it's my favorite. Ah! Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I do need a puff. That's an excellent suggestion. Thank you, UTN. I need you around all the time. Okay, so can you hear me now? Or yes or no, or yes or no, or yes or no? Because no one's saying they can hear me now. I can hear you now. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Perfect. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Perfect. That's I guess I can't do better than that. Okay. So here we are doing this thing again. New studio, right? I'm going to give you a tour of the studio. I cut off my arms. I cut off my arms. Look at that. I'll give you a tour of the studio tomorrow when we don't have all the kaleidoscope going on, and because I'm gonna do a unboxing in here tomorrow, and we'll do that not live. We'll do it just on video, and then I'll upload that for you. But we'll get some shots of what the new studio looks like, so you can see the back scene, the behind the scenes story. And by the way, this is all Craig. So thank you to Craig, because none of this would be here at all if it wasn't for Craig. He actually painted this wall. Okay, so nobody talking shit about Craig. All right, so I have a Goldfinger joint. Goldfinger. I have a Goldfinger joint.
Just checking. We're good.
And we're going to be using that for blessing the studio like an incense, Shut the fuck up. How rude.
That was me testing.
All right. So, Goldfinger joint. This is like an infused. This is like a $12 joint, man. I know that I've smoked $12 joints before, but I'm guaranteed I rolled them myself. Anyways, we'll light this in a minute. Because according to UTN, I need a puff. What a great girl. She should be here all the time. Okay, so the volume is low. Sounds like it's in a hole. Okay, so Craig, you get that? The volume is low. It sounds like it's in a hole. Hello, Craig. Can you adjust the volume, please? The volume is too low and it sounds like I'm in a hole.
Okay. Hot up your microphone with that slider bar.
That's what Wilco says.
The new microphone. Pot up your volume with the
Hello,
slider.
hello. Is that better, Wilco? Volume's fine. Make up your freaking mind. You people are making me crazy.
We need to dampen some sound in here probably too.
It's an empty room. It echoes. It is a hole. So
We got new carpet, so
it's
that's
a guy,
a good start.
And Craig put in new carpet. He painted the wall and put in new carpet. Telling you.
And we got lights.
And he bought new lights and microphones, and guy going crazy.
Fox News rocks,
He set up this new computer. He's figuring out the BS. So,
BS.
someone say they're smoking Trudeau. So you guys know this is a call-in show. I don't have my little thing where I lift it up and I say, look, this is the telephone number. Because the telephone number is right fucking there. Okay? The telephone number is right there. I don't need to put it up on the screen. There's the telephone number. It says, call now. You guys can read, call now, right? You guys have done this before. We've had this discussion, remember? Okay, so anyways, we're in place. Isn't this lovely? Oh, I love the green color. The green color is so hot. Isn't that a hot color? That really kind of makes me salivate and get all like excited. I like that green color so much. Oh, I love that green color. And I like the kaleidoscope. I love the kaleidoscope. I was looking for fractals, and then I found the kaleidoscope, and I love the kaleidoscope. So, Michael. Hello, caller.
This is Mohammed.
It is not. You got to say it right. It's Muhammad.
You got caller ID?
Muhammad.
You got caller ID.
It's not Muhammad.
Okay. Hey, Mike, just everything's cool. Just get your camera in focus. That's the only little thing.
Oh, is there a problem with the picture?
It's just slightly out of focus.
Oh, well, I prefer that, honestly. You don't.
Okay,
Nobody
well,
wants
cool.
to see me in clear picture and HD
You look
quality.
like a guru with all the stuff going behind you. Now you need to read the Bhagavad Gita or something, you know?
Well, is the sound okay and everything? You like that?
Sound is okay. Visuals are psychedelic. Take a hit, man, and relax into your new groove. You're
I should
like,
take a hit, huh? I got this big old fat joint from. This is a $12 joint, dude. Can you imagine buying a $12 joint?
absolutely not.
It's not even like a big fat joint. This joint, I did not buy this, by the way. This is it's all covered in keef. Look at that. Ooh,
Wow.
fancy.
That better be a good fucking joint for $12, dude.
It's fancy.
Well, shit, that's what I smoke every day. But
You
that's
cover
okay.
keef covered joints.
No, keef is on the inside a little bit, but where they use some oil to stick the keef to the outside of the paper.
Yeah, it's supposed to be infused like 3 different ways.
Huh. Well, okay. Well, it'll probably get you stoned.
We'll find out.
Okay, I'm watching you. Here we go. Number 1 joint in the new studio, $12. Uh-oh, we got the 12 astrological sign. You're in the sign of Aries now.
Ah, pretty tasty.
Yeah, it tastes earthy with all the keef. When you smoke keef, it kind of tastes earthy, you know?
Yeah, it's got a real earthy kind of flavor to it.
Yeah, I don't mind weed like that.
Oh, dude, it just made my tongue numb. That's amazing.
Cool.
I was not expecting that at all.
Wow, that's weird. I wonder how they did that.
All right. All right. So you know what I find out is I'm smoking way more now that I'm doing the live show,
Yeah.
and I don't really prefer that. That's why I eat so much weed, because I don't want to smoke it all the time, you know.
Oh,
But-
I didn't know you ate weed. When you eat weed, it's hard to actually gauge the amount you're ingesting, you know, or when you're going to peak, you know.
Not if you eat it every day.
Well, I guess so, but maybe that's why you're so mellow. Maybe you should go back to eating brownies and stuff. And
I'm
you know.
going back to it. I'm making butter. I'm getting there. I'm out of butter. So I'm making butter. I had a little brownie before the show. You know, I'm good. I'm not having a problem. It's just new stuff. I don't like new stuff, and I don't like it last minute not working. And you're like, you know, you're sitting in front of your audience and stuff isn't working. Very frustrating, my friend.
I know. I got a friend who's a better engineer than me, and he's always running wires everywhere in my studio. And oh, let's plug this in here. You got 16 wires coming out of there. I don't know what they're doing. And he drives me nuts. And I said, I just want you to set it up the way I want it. And so it worked. And don't mess with it after that. But since you're in the same situation, I think you should thank your engineer, the guy who's setting it up for you, and say, hey,
I just did that. Did not hear the whole beginning of me talking. It was like, Craig. What the fuck are you talking about? I should thank him.
Kudos to Craig. Because, you know, those guys are handy to have around, man. They hook shit up for you.
You have no idea, okay? Craig's been running a show like this for me since before there was ever a YouTube.
No shit.
Yeah. So I know how lucky I am.
Cool. Well, now you're in the flow. I'm your first caller on your new psychedelic program. So, yes, sir.
So, there was no terrorist attack yesterday. Were you surprised?
No.
Did you watch the Seahawks game? Waiting for one?
No.
No.
I just sit in my little room and I trim my weed and
Oh, what a life.
Yeah, I'm just a slave, you know. Every once in a while they open the door and throw food at me, and
they
that's
do.
my life.
You have someone that actually throws food at you? You are so lucky.
No, actually, I'm kind of like Tulsi Gabbard, where I'm a Vedic person, you know, Vedically trained, and I don't allow other people to cook food for me because that's just kind of a part of the Vedic science, you know. You cook your own goddamn food.
You know, the only time I ever get the shits is when I eat somebody else's food.
Well, you know,
too much information. I know.
No. I mean, yeah, that happens sometimes, but actually, there's an energetic transfer. It's like sex. When you have sex with somebody, there's an energetic transfer. It's the same thing with food, but not as powerful. Where if a thief cooks your food or a bad person cooks your food, it's not good for your energy field, and that's just Vedic knowledge. And Tulsi Gabbard, she eats prasadam probably as often as she can. You know what prasadam is?
No, I don't know what that is.
It's food cooked by monks, holy food. It's holy food. Did you know her name, Tulsi, means holy?
No, but I think that's a good name for her.
Yeah, the Tulsi, you know what the rosary is for the Catholics, right?
No, I mean I know what the rosary is. It's some kind of prayer that they wear on their hand or something.
Yeah,
right?
they're prayer beads.
Yeah.
The Hindus have the same thing. They're called the Japamala. And there's 108 beads on the Japamala. There's also, I think, 108 beads on the Catholic rosary. And that's a sacred number. 108 is based on 9. That's Vedic fucking numerology. But the beads for the Hindus are made out of the Tulsi seed. And the Tulsi seed is holy basil. That's what it is. So the word Tulsi means holy. So that's, you know, I saw her hang out with her Hare Krishna buddies, and you know, I sometimes I do the same thing, hang out with my Hare Krishna buddies, and so I think she's the real deal. She's legit, and I hope she kicks some ass on TV so I can watch it, you know?
I so hope she gets a chance to kick some ass too. I would love to see her kick Elizabeth Warren's ass. I think that would make a really good SmackDown.
There's
I
something-
think that would just impress the fuck out of everybody.
There's something about Elizabeth Warren that really bothers me. It's just like it's not legit, you know. It's not real.
She's a
energy.
Republican. She's a Republican.
Yeah, she's like the neighbor that would call the county on you, you know, or call the police because your music's too loud.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But Tulsi Gabbard would come on over and dance with you and say, "Hey, you know, my kid's asleep. Maybe you could turn it down after about an hour, you know, a couple notches, you know." Tulsi Gabbard's just cool. And
She seems pretty amazing, dude. I mean, the surfing thing, the martial arts, the what you're talking about with her diet, you know, and she puts up these exercise videos like once a week.
yeah, I've seen her working out and stuff, and I don't know how old she is. She's got to be about 40, right?
You got to be 35 to be president. I think she's not quite 40, but I think she's like 38, 37,
Yeah,
38.
well, God willing, she'll be around for a long time, and she's not the kind of chick that gives up. You know, if she doesn't get to be president, she'll just keep on fighting some other way, the way that a lot of people are fighting. You know, she's one of these people that she may be right, she may be wrong, but she feels that you got to change the system from the inside. And as far as I can see, there ain't too many people doing that. So, you know, I'm on her side. I'll vote for her even if I got to write her name in there, you know.
You know, I think that would send a good message. I think that, you know, the thing is, I think we were talking about, you know, different things like virtue and honor and all these different kinds of things. And it's like, I think most people just don't want to, you know, give up their integrity to step down enough to vote for someone like Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're making a deal with the devil. You know?
Well, I kind of think that we are making a deal with the devil every time we vote for the lesser of two evils. It took me a couple of years to come to that conclusion because I voted for Trump. I figured, oh, fuck, he's the lesser of two evils, you know?
Yeah.
But there really wasn't a viable third candidate.
Can you talk for a minute while I go start to upload?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll be right back. Thanks, Michael.
Sure. So I thought that, you know, there was no third candidate. You know, I knew everything about Hillary, Benghazi, and Mena, Arkansas, and the trail of 50 dead bodies behind the Clintons, and the Clinton Foundation, and the rape of Haiti, and you can just go on and on, you know. So I would do anything to keep Hillary out of there, so I voted for Trump. And Trump said all the right things, and then he started acting like a jerk in some areas. And the bad thing about Trump is that he is...
hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, dude. It's fine.
Oh, that's all right. The bad thing about Trump is that he's a complete Zionist, you know, so...
Yeah.
You know, and then
yeah, that's just part. Look, I can't stand this thing where they look you in the eye and they lie to you like you're stupid. Especially this stuff where you know, I said we love WikiLeaks 1,000 times, and then I look into the camera and say I don't know anything about Julian Assange or WikiLeaks. Like you have no memory. It just makes me feel stupid. Like he thinks that I'm stupid. And I can't stand, I mean, and that's just, not just that he thinks that I'm stupid, but he'll put it right up front, you know, right up in the, you know, in everybody's face, in the whole fucking world. Like, you're all fucking stupid. He thinks everybody's stupid, and I cannot stand that, you know?
Well, you know, I've been a boss for a lot of years. I've trained 100 men, and there's a talent to being a good boss, but most, you know, and that talent has to be developed. You have to kind of cut the line between profit and being good to the people that are working. Thanks for that. Being good to the people that are working for you. And I think that Trump is a bad boss where he wouldn't mind cutting his employees' throats. You know, the bottom line is always the bottom line. And if you got a, you know, like these guys that buy companies and then dismantle them and sell them for parts, rather than keeping them afloat and keeping the employees employed. You know, Trump is not a good boss. He's not really the most trustworthy guy, and he threw the Palestinians under the bus. I'm sure he's thrown.
Absolutely, man. He's so horrible when it comes to that. Like you're saying, the Zionist stuff is. I mean, they're naming illegal settlements after him and shit. You know, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, highways.
Yeah.
They're naming highways after him. And he was trained by this guy Cohen in New York. I can't remember his first name, but it was like a mafia guy. His name was Cohen, and Trump's in deep with the Jews, you know, and he's always worked with Jewish money, and he's a big industrialist, and he's not a street guy like you or me or the listeners. He doesn't really. He might have a decent work ethic, and I think he does. But he's not like the friends of the little man, really. He's just another pretender, just another clown that they march in front of us. And this clown happens to be entertaining, you know.
He's very good at being a pretender and an entertainer. He's very good at that. People really like. I mean, to the point to where I don't even think people kind of get that it's a circus clown show, you know.
Well, I really wish they would, because the moment Bill Clinton hopped on I think it was a Tonight Show, and started playing his saxophone, I knew the end of the world was coming real soon, you know, because like when the president starts playing saxophone on a talk show, it's like, what the fuck is this? You know, I'm going to vote for you because you're a bad saxophone player. You know, are you cool? You know, he had his sunglasses on, and they're always faking a personality so that the common person can relate to him. But I don't relate to any of those people. I'm too streetwise, man. I when I'm around a snake, I know it. Even if they're behind me, I feel their energy, you know. And they're all snakes. They're all snakes. Hillary's the worst of them all.
Well, the thing is, what I'm saying though about the two of them, Hillary, and it feels like if you somehow vote for one of them, it's like you're making a deal with the devil. You know, it's like
We've been making a deal with the devil for 100 years.
And this is what I keep saying. I guess this is why we have to get rid of the two-party system. This is why we have to. The Democrats and the Republicans are both responsible for all this stuff. This where we're at in the world now, you know, and we deserve better. It just what I'm saying is there's this thing about humans. You know, they want to vote. It's like how I say we want the cops to be the heroes. You know, we want cops that are actually heroes. We could actually feel like these. Yeah, the cops are here. You know what I mean? We all fucking want that so bad, and we don't have anything like that. We're like, oh my God, the cops are here. You know, we're like, oh fuck, the cops are here. You know, and
everybody's heart.
And it's the same way. It's the same way with these people like Hillary and all this shit. You know, it's just how can the best that America has to offer, that America can put forward to take over, you know, leadership of the most powerful country in the world? How can it boil down to Hillary or Donald Trump? I mean, what the fuck?
It's a kakistocracy. That's a word which means ruled by the worst elements in society, and that's what we've been living in for ever since I've been alive. You know, the whole game has been rigged, and the sooner people wake up, the sooner we'll be able to figure out what to do about it. You're right about the third party. We should have multiple. We should have 5 parties. And
I think so, at least.
And 10-hour debates on TV.
Oh my God, the debates should be like an endurance marathon thing.
Right.
Where it's like, and right, see who can't fucking handle the heat in the kitchen. And the debate, a 10-hour, 12-hour debate would fucking show that right away. You know, somebody be up there on stage wetting their fucking pants. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So,
yeah.
we definitely, I'm all for a 10, 12 hour, and every question should come from the audience. And as long as there's people willing to stand in line and ask questions, they should have to fucking sit there and answer them all.
Yeah. Bathroom break every 2.5 hours, and
2 hours. If you can't go 2 hours without a bathroom break, then you can't be president. So.
yeah, I would love to see Kamala Harris dancing up there like I gotta go pee. But yeah, you're right, man. We need what we got is a cartoon show for politics. It's all a cartoon show. Every single thing. When a person like Tulsi comes along and she's totally legit, and I don't even agree with everything that she proposes, but I know she's totally legit. She's just a lot straighter of a person than I am.
Okay, UTN, you ready? You ready, UTN? Here we go. Let's just try. Did that work? It looks like it worked. Okay, go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
Yeah, so she's legit, and it's really refreshing to see an open face. Remember Robert Plant singing in what is that? Kashmir, he said, with no provisions but an open face to cross the sea of years. That's a really great line for a rock song, but you can tell the difference between an open face like Tulsi Gabbard and a little resting bitch face like Hillary or Kamala Harris or who's the Jew chick that got kicked out of the DNC?
Debbie Wasserman.
Yeah, Debbie Wasserman Schultz has a resting fucking cannibal face or something.
I always describe it as bitter beer face. It's like one of those people who just walk around with a scowl on their face all the time. Like they're tasting or smelling like sour milk or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one chick you don't want to be around. She's like the devil incarnate,
Yeah, it's not somebody I want to be around.
Yeah, but I love Tulsi Gabbard, and I think she's great. And this is going to be one interesting election coming up. Everybody wants to be president. I'd run for president if I thought I could be viable, but I'm a complete nobody, and I don't know how to talk, so that's not very good qualifications, But Tulsi, she's pretty experienced. She seems to have done the right thing all throughout her congressional term. Like, she dropped out of the DNC. She got on the most important committees. And I know everybody's bitching that she's a member of the CFR, but to me, it's like, well, fucking go where the information is. Find out, and she's not an Illuminati member. People are criticizing her for being on the Council of Foreign Relations like she's in the fucking Illuminati. Who wouldn't want to go to the CFR and see what the fuck goes on there? I'd love to be on a fly on the wall.
It's that thing, man, where you gotta, keep your friends close and I used to get that all the time when I first would go to work for these blogs. Like, I worked for like a couple of really big blogs for a little while, and they say, why do you keep posting all this, Pentagon propaganda stuff? Because I post all kinds of, war stuff. And they'd be like, and I was like, because you know what they say about keeping your friends close? You got to know what these people are saying. You have to know what the Pentagon is saying. Otherwise, you're in danger, a lot of danger.
Yeah, I do that with the Jews and with Israel. I probably follow 5 or 10 Israeli YouTube channels just to figure out what their narrative is, or what the latest lie is, or what their Hasbara is actually boiling down to, So you got to know what the enemy is doing if you want to fight them. I do that, and I'm sure that's the reason why you post a lot of the fucked up mainstream videos. It's just to show people how fucked up stuff is,
You know what? If you see a lot of people, when I started doing this, I mean, nobody was calling CNN and everybody the fake news. I mean, Jon Stewart was calling himself fake news, and at that time, Time Magazine named him the most trusted man in news, and they said something about fake news. fake news is the most trusted man in news. What's going on here, And now everybody's calling CNN fake news. But when I began doing this, nobody was saying that about that really wasn't in the dialogue. And and I think what would happen, and it was different. The news was different. They would have people like Seymour Hersh and Alex Jones and Julian Assange and interviews like that, and those kind of interviews are very powerful. And other people who have opinions. Now the opinions are these fucking politico talking head people, and it's not even an opinion. It's like, okay, this is your part that you're supposed to play now. Like I keep talking about this label. Whatever that label is, now you're supposed to say these words that make these people feel like someone's arguing their side of the story.
And even Amy Goodman has been doing the same thing you're talking about for many years. I mean, she should change her show to Democracy Later rather than Democracy Now. It's like she's a gatekeeper to the max. She won't touch the really important subjects, and I've seen her shut down really intelligent people. Virtue signal, people like Norman. The Jew Finkelstein, a guy who's totally pro-Palestinian and he just speaks the truth, but she'll shut him down because he criticizes his own people, the Jews. It's like you can't. So, even the PBS programs, public broadcast system programs, are now completely infiltrated with the government narrative, and you have gatekeepers of all ilks, all colors, and all sizes, and there's certain areas they just won't touch. But the free flow of information is what's going to liberate us, not 10 different streams of propaganda. It's like choose your flavor of shit. Do you want? I don't want shit at all. I want the real deal, and I know that only a free internet will result in a free population. So. People are getting, I don't see you having any strikes against you, even though you say you had one, but a lot of people are getting shut down. Abby Martin can't do her report. She's shut down. So many.
Is that right? Abby Martin got shut down, huh?
Yeah.
This is why I'm very careful. Okay, a lot of people, again, that's the reason why a lot of people at the beginning, even though it wasn't considered fake news and stuff like that, a lot of people at the beginning were like, man, why are you posting this kind of stuff? And it was because there wasn't, it wasn't being covered properly, but it opened people's eyes. But when you're talking about this, the Amy Goodman and all these things, it's because back in the day when I started doing this, Amy Goodman wasn't that way. Amy Goodman was one of the good ones, and now she's, you get a little bit of this money, and of course you have to have it when you have an operation the size of hers,
Right.
And it changes things, and that's really unfortunate, and that's why I'm always so grateful to the people who give to Mox News, because almost nobody has ever asked me to do this or that. Like I said, when I worked for the bigger blogs, they scooped me up off of YouTube back in the day, and they were like, can you stop posting so many stories about Israel and 9/11? That just brings out the crazy people. And I was like, no. And I
Good
said,
for you.
yeah, well, that's why I didn't, that's why I'm not working with those people anymore. Partially. I don't play well with others,
Well, I see, if I can play the fortune teller for a moment, I see that you can actually occupy a niche in the YouTube community, because there's no intelligent hippies who smoke dope on YouTube and talk about political issues, or have a history of being politically savvy like you do. So you actually are creating right now with your call-in thing a new niche. It's who used to do that? Nobody ever smoked dope on TV, on YouTube, and talked political issues. And had unrestricted language and
Well, again, this is the thing where it comes back to everybody. Also, not just that. It's not that they didn't smoke dope or they didn't, censor you. It's that they were trying to talk to a certain audience, and that talking to a certain audience, it works for you very well if you're trying to make money or gain some political power or something. That works very well if you pander to those kind of people. But if you're out here and you're just trying to do the right thing by everyone, people get confused. Not just it's almost like they're threatened by you.
You're obviously trying to be inclusive to everybody, and I would urge the man from Cairo, Mohammed, to call back and just talk about what's on his mind, But I see you being inclusive to everybody, and
I thought you were Muhammad.
Well, sometimes, sometimes I'm Mohammed, sometimes I'm not. But no, he finally called back on Friday and didn't say much, but I just want everybody who of whatever genre or flavor you are, just call up Michael at Mox News and talk about what's important to you. And Michael's got the skills to handle any dialogue you throw at him. That's what I like about you, Mike. Is I'm an asshole, but you're not really an asshole. You know how to talk to people better than I do. I think
I'm kind of an asshole. If people talk shit, if people, if people, they come out here and they start talking smack about Tulsi, and it's like, you're not paying attention, and they want to act like they know, and they just try and want to act like, I don't know, like she's just like all the other ones. And that's just like that's this label thing, that's this blinders thing, that's just like this, I don't have to listen because she's one of those, so nah, 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 nah. And when somebody like her comes along, I'm like, no, listen to what she's fucking saying, pay attention to what she's doing. Come on,
for a chick that's never smoked any dope, she's actually quite open-minded, I know the Hare Krishnas really well, and I know that she's a true believer, and she got swore in on the Bhagavad Gita, instead of a Bible, and she had a Hindu wedding. I watched the video of her Hindu wedding, and she's in love with this great guy that plays guitar and ukulele, and she's the real deal. She's just a sweetheart girl, but she's tough as nails, too. If any woman was ever qualified to be the first woman president, it's Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
I mean, Elizabeth Warren, she is like my grandma that smells bad. She's like my Aunt Mabel who smells really bad, and I don't want to be around her.
She's got one of those faces too, where it's like the bitter bear face, like she's always smelling something bad.
Yeah, well, as you get older, your face kind of looks like what your emotions look like, and she's all squinched up, and it's like, I don't want to be like she's constipated,
Yeah, I'm not used to these lights, so that's why my eyes are all scrunched up, so And plus, this joint is like pretty killer, so Otherwise, my eyes would be open.
Can you see? Do you have a display of what everybody else sees?
Pretty much.
Okay, so you're the psychedelic guru, man.
I don't know about that, but I am just, this is just the beginning one. This background, I kept telling Craig, I want Shark Tank, Shark Aquarium, get me fucking shark. I want fucking sharks with lasers on their freaking heads. And so he's working on sharks, but hey, Michael, there's another caller, so let me see if I can get it, okay?
Okay, be cool, brother.
Thanks for calling. Hello, caller.
Hey, hello?
Hello.
This is Muhammad.
Muhammad, nice to hear from you. I knew that other guy wasn't Muhammad.
What guy?
The guy before you said he was Muhammad. I said you're not Muhammad. You had a different accent before.
Oh no, I'm the real Muhammad. I'm the Egyptian Muhammad. I'm the real Muhammad.
We'll go with that. The real Muhammad. Okay, go ahead.
What are you talking? What you guys talking about today?
We're talking about my new beautiful Mox News studio. Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it. I love it though.
Cool. Me too. I love it too. We're
Yeah,
gonna.
I'm heartbroken today though. I'm not doing good.
Oh, what's wrong?
Yeah, I just broke up with my wife. That
Oh,
bitch broke my heart.
yeah.
She
That's
shattered my heart.
that's what women
Yeah, my
do,
heart
man.
is shattered now.
You know
My
the
feelings all over the place.
the Led Zeppelin song where they say, "Soul of a woman was created below." You know that song?
No, I don't. But I mean, so I have a question though. I mean, I mean, my wife is American. Okay. I mean,
Okay,
why
okay.
all American? Why all American wives are crazy though?
Women, it's not just American wives. I don't think, I'm just mostly used to American women, but my experience has been that just all women are basically crazy.
Yeah. That bitch keeps. Yeah, she keeps making fun of me. Keeps making fun of my accent. The other day she told me to go. Yeah, the other day she told me to go back to my country. I'm like, well, who the fuck are you to tell me to go back to my country? You go back to your country too. You're an immigrant just like me. Yeah, she broke my heart though.
That's messed up, dude.
That's messed up. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's listening to you right now. Can you say something to her? Like maybe she, because I mean, I got a busted nuts tonight. I'm kind of
Well, you're on your own for that.
All right, Mike. Brother. I mean, it was nice talking to you, man. I love watching your show. Why you only have 24 viewers? You should have more than that.
Yeah, the YouTube is horrible. They're trying to censor us. They hate Mox News.
You see, can you look at the comment section? You see the douchebag in the comment section?
Which one is the douchebag? Which one is the douchebag?
One second. Stay on the phone. Let me look at the comment section.
Okay, you tell me.
You see?
Muhammad, you still there?
The bitch. Yes, there is two douchebags. You see, here he is. His name is.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah, no, Wolko, especially this dude. He's the biggest douche. His name is Wolko. Wolko. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Wolko.
That's the biggest douche. Hey, what's his real name? Is that his real name?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's the biggest douche out there, man. All right, Mike, I gotta get back to work. My boss just came back. I gotta get back to work. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for calling, Muhammad. It's nice to hear from you. So again, this is our Goldfinger. Goldfinger, can you see it? Goldfinger. It's infused. It's got keef all around the outside, and I think it's sprayed with CO2 extracted, THC, and I think there's some bubble hash in there. I don't know. It's pretty good. I'm glad. Hello, caller.
And the biggest douche goes to Wolko. Wow, I thought it was me, brother. I thought it was me.
I was waiting for him to say Dwayne, and I was like, no. Dwayne's a nice guy. But Wolko, I don't know about that guy.
Yeah, he split up with his 13-year-old wife, man. Like, come on, Mohammed.
Hey, you're just jealous.
Oh, my wife's 40, but she looks her teeth, man. It's awesome.
All right. So, how's the weather in Canada, Dwayne?
Oh, we're finally starting to get down to, like, the cold stuff, man. We're starting to get down to cold. It almost snowed here the other day.
Oh.
It almost snowed.
It's been just gorgeous here the last few days, but it's kind of cold. But I mean, kind of cold is like 40,
I'd love to go to the West Coast someday, like especially the West Coast of the United States. I'd love to, not but like not California.
It's
Even though
you know
that's
what?
like,
It's a nice drive. You can drive like all the way down to Humboldt, and then just come back up. But you start in Vancouver and just drive along the coast all the way down to Humboldt, and you'd have a lovely, lovely time.
yeah, like it just makes me so awesome there with all the wildlife and everything. Like, oh man, that'd just be awesome. It'd be totally awesome. So
Yeah, you know, that's what I love about the Northwest is they're just trees. Don't you have trees and water and stuff everywhere where you live? Yeah, you live there. You live in where there's trees. And don't you have wildlife? You guys have bears and stuff, right?
Not so far south in Ontario where I am, but 3 hours north of me, yeah, absolutely. Like
Oh.
northern Ontario is just loaded with it.
No, we have bears, and we like once a year or so we see bears in our neighborhood. Not bears, but there's a report of a bear, and you get helicopter footage and stuff. You know.
Well, those are like grizzly bears, right?
No. It's like a black bear or brown bear.
Oh, okay. So just little black bears. Yeah.
Yeah,
we have those.
they're like dogs. You don't have to worry about them. You know, they're just go.
Not necessarily where I live, but you know, like we don't have moose around here, but you know, I told you before, I love going camping in northern Ontario, and there's moose and bear everywhere. You know?
I would love to see moose in the wild. That would be awesome.
Oh, you've never seen that before, really?
No.
Oh, it's neat, man. I was walking on a portage carrying a canoe one day. I almost rammed the end of my canoe right up at Moose's ass, standing right on the portage. It was really cool, actually.
That's
It really
hilarious.
was, dude.
He didn't get upset, did he?
No, he just stood there and looked at me. I'm like, all right, I'm not getting closer because you know, because you get kicked in the head by one of those things, it's over, man.
He doesn't have anything to be afraid of. That's top of the food chain where you go at.
Kinda, and you know, what am I gonna do with like a rope and a little, you know, hunting knife? Nothing against something like that.
Nor would you want to. I mean, you just want to avoid it at all costs, you know?
Well, it's really awesome to actually run across them in the wild because they're not really scared of you, but you know what? You just keep your distance and you watch them, and they're watching you, and it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, you know what I mean? Like everything's all right.
Yeah, it's like I said, they're top of the food chain, you're top of the food chain. They recognize it. You probably don't recognize it, but it's okay. They're good with that. But you know, not you personally, Dwayne, but you know, the moose. The moose is kind of fascinated by humans because they're a little lost in their position on the planet, you know. Moose isn't lost on his position in the planet. Not you, Dwayne, again.
No,
But,
yeah, because like I'm not lost in my position in this planet, not
Yeah.
at all. But yeah, I can see how, you know, 98% of people are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Moose
really,
Moose
look
can
at the
see
fact
that right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like you can look in these moose's eyes, but like it's really cool. It really is. And I've come across black bears on portages too.
Have you ever seen
love them.
grizzlies out there?
No, we don't have grizzlies in Ontario though, unfortunately. No, I wouldn't want to come across those because those things are like just punch your head off, don't they?
They could probably smack your head off with a big old swipe. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you know, and when I went to BC and Alberta, you know, my wife and I took a train across Canada, the one time. Oh, it was awesome. Just 3 days of just fucking in the train. It was awesome. And so we go across Canada. We stopped in Alberta and then BC, and you know, like we ended up doing a bunch of backcountry camping there. And they have these bear poles where you hang your food, right? Because you're supposed to hang your food so you don't want to attract the bears to your campsite.
Uh-huh.
And I was just happy to not see a grizzly, you know, because I've just heard lots of stories about.
Well, you don't want to be woke up in the middle of the night by a big giant fucking bear going through your food, your supplies, you know. I mean, that's like, then what do? You like fucking, do you quiver and hide? Do you fucking shoot it? Do you try and shoo it off? Or, I mean, it's just, I think you just probably try and get away from it would be my guess.
Oh yeah, and it's not like you can run, right? Because they can run faster, can't they?
Yeah, you don't want to run, I wouldn't think, but you could probably back out. You want to keep an eye on it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to turn my back on it.
Yeah, and you know what? I went with my uncle, who's only a couple years older than me, eh? And you know what that bum did when he left? He left an open jar of peanut butter at my campsite.
Wow.
Like, is that not the stupidest thing to do in in the wilderness in Alberta?
That's just plain mean. It's kind of like he wanted you to have
Yeah.
issues.
And you know what? I ended up calling a communist, and we basically never talked again. Now he's a teacher, okay?
Ah.
Idiot. But you know what? Like, I just wanted to call in and say, hey, I kind of like the background. It's kind of, I don't know. It's all right, dude. Like, you need some sharks or something, man.
With
Yeah,
frickin'
yeah.
lasers. Craig, do you hear what the callers are saying? With frickin' lasers, damn it. What are you doing? Get on it, man.
Oh, and stingrays and stuff with like machine guns on their tail. And
Yeah, now you're talking. I want to
Yeah,
ride. I
yeah.
want to be riding a frickin' pterodactyl with fucking machine guns. Now we're talking, man. I don't know. The green screen stuff, you know, I did this stuff back. Like I said, Craig was helping me with this studio stuff long before there was ever on YouTube. I was doing this kaleidoscope stuff back in 1997 on Seattle television with naked girls dancing behind me, doing the news. Okay?
Oh, you could do that too. You could put naked girls dancing behind you. But this kaleidoscope
Yeah,
stuff,
Craig, we need
like, I was
girls
jumping
in
out-
bikinis jumping on fucking trampolines. You are totally fucking slacking, man. Girls in bikinis jumping on trampolines. We want it now. Listen to what the people are saying.
and Tulsi and Sarah Palin dancing together in bikinis. Oh yeah. Yeah.
No,
So.
that's not going to happen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're like, no Sarah Palin, no Sarah Palin. Only Tulsi. Yeah, okay.
Sarah Palin's fucking nut. Sarah Palin, look, Sarah Palin's mixed up with a bunch of tweakers, dude, and you know it.
No, I don't.
Okay, well, you're not reading then.
He's probably really warm to snuggle with in a yeah, I'm pretty sure she's really warm to snuggle with in a sleeping bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, I love tweaker girls.
Oh, and you know, we did the West Coast Trail at Pacific Rim National Park in Canada. It's probably only 50 miles from you, man. Like on Vancouver Island there. How far is Vancouver Island from you?
I'm not sure. About,
Oh, okay.
I think it's about. See, there's a boat that leaves from Seattle, and I think it gets there in about 90 minutes, and it's like a pretty fast boat, and I think that's probably the shortest trip. I think driving there might be a little bit longer than, probably about the same, probably a little bit longer. I'm not sure. I have trouble getting across the border, dude. Last time I went across the border, they stopped me and they found a nug on me, like that big. It was like fucking, you know, like a $50 size fucking nug. Just,
Are you serious?
yeah, it was
Like
horrible.
Canada loves that shit, especially BC. You know what? When Jane and I got off the train in Vancouver, okay, like all the stereotypes across Canada are right. All right, everybody in Vancouver, we get off this cross-country train. We came all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast. Okay,
Mhm.
so we get off the cross-country train in Vancouver. The first person we look at in Vancouver says, "Hey, man, you want to buy some weed?"
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we think of people in Vancouver, right? They're all potheads, right? Edmonton, Alberta, they're all wearing, you know, Edmonton Oilers jerseys.
The cops busted a medical place up there like 2 days ago, on Friday. You know, that up in BC, and there was like a bunch of people in wheelchairs and like just, I mean, serious medical patients. That's all they served, and these people were like, "Where are we supposed to get our medicine now?" It was horrible, dude. So it's not maybe what you think. I think this is just part of the legalized thing. You know, now it's legalized, and if you don't jump through every single hoop, you are fucked. And they just fucked a bunch of people, and they didn't care. And they fucked sick people, and that's what's really messed up. Is that you know, it's just so heartless to mess with people and their medicine, because it was just heartbreaking to see those people saying, what are we what are we supposed to do? Hope but like you said, weeds everywhere in Vancouver, so you should be able to find something.
Well, yeah, and you know what? The medical weed, isn't it even complete? Like, okay, I haven't tried the Ontario shit yet. I'm going to. I promise you, man. As soon as as soon as this store opens near me, I'm contacting you. But like, okay, I
You
remember
keep pushing that fence back further, Dwayne. Go ahead.
I'm busting my ass, man. I'm just working,
And that's why a puff would be just so nice, wouldn't it?
Well, it takes me 45 minutes to get to a city.
Oh, well, I thought you could order online, dude.
Yeah, I can, I guess, but yeah, I could do that, but I could do that. I'd rather just go into a real fucking brick and mortar store and call me old fashioned, whatever.
No,
right?
look, when I first started
if I
going
want
to
to
the
order online,
when I
everyone in the
first
comment section is against the North American Union. All right, screw this shit. I want to be able to deal with Yankees like Mox News and say, hey man, how about I send you $50? You send me back $50. You know what I mean? Why does there have to be a
I wish
border?
I could send cookies to everybody, Dwayne, and you wouldn't have to send me anything. I mean, if I could, and you said you could really use some cookies, they would be headed your way for sure, And I mean, and I wish I could do that with everybody. And I hate that I hate that. Yeah.
I think there should be a password where they don't search your car or nothing to get into the United States, and that password should be like Ron Paul.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I've always kind of thought that way. When shit hits the fan, I'm going to the States, man. They got guns and shit, and I want a gun and all that, right, to protect my family. So I always think like, well, I could basically swim across the river anyways. So, but some guy in Ontario tried that once. He actually scuba dived underneath the Detroit River. He stayed along the bottom and everything. They got motion sensors down there, man.
Yeah.
He came up the other side, and they had Department of Homeland Security pointing guns at his head.
Yeah.
So,
shit. Yeah. So you can't buy a gun and take it home. You're worried. So what happens if you get busted with a gun that you're not legally, like a pistol or something? Like a 9mm Glock or something.
A guy I work with had a 20 gauge shotgun that was unregistered with the government in Canada.
Uh-huh.
He just went to jail for 3 years. Guy I was working with back in April.
It's not like a sawed off shotgun. It's just a regular.
No, none of that shit. He had it.
Because sawed off shotguns are illegal here in the United States too.
Yeah, that's how they busted Randy Weaver, right? And killed his breastfeeding wife and 13-year-old son. I get that. But no, it was just an unregistered 20 gauge shotgun. And he's in prison now for 3 years. And I just, he's basically the guy that trained me at my job. I didn't realize while I was being trained at that job like this. And then he was just gone. He says, if I'm not here Monday, I'm gone to jail for 3 years. He wasn't there Monday.
So sad. I don't know how nobody would think that Canada would be so draconian. I mean, and that was the only thing that he did wrong, was not having some kind of permit to have the gun.
Well, he also sold coke too.
Oh, okay.
But when they searched his home,
uh-huh,
they found that unregistered gun as well. So now they didn't find any coke.
Uh-huh.
That was all in his pocket. But when they searched his home, when he was in jail, they found the unregistered shotgun, and that was kind of like the third strike here.
Mm.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's still messed up. I mean, you shouldn't. I mean, the shotgun in the forest. About time. I want it on the screen behind you. Come on, man. The whole screen. Stretch it out. Let's see it.
Yeah,
behind me. You got it on top of me. It's got to be behind me, dude. Come on, let's see it.
Oh yeah, with the chi-chis, you know what I mean? Shaking right behind your head, buddy. Oh yeah. This kaleidoscope stuff went out with me when I was like 10 years old.
Like I said, I was doing this back in 1997, but I love the kaleidoscope stuff, Dwayne,
Oh, really?
you sound like you need a bong hit more than ever when you say shit like that. You know that?
Yeah, that's what Wolfo just put in the chat too, man. Like that's what he said too. But
Well, it works for him too, I guess.
I'd actually like to go to just a brick and mortar store, and as soon as I go to that store, I'm gonna contact you like a day or two before I go and say, all right, Mr. Michael Knight,
Hmm.
here's my options, all right? And because I want to mine stone. It's been for like 4 years, man. I used to be chronic on this stuff, and I
Well,
just
yeah,
bought.
like I said, I mean, then you grow up and it's like, okay, so now we can just do it with like just a couple puffs, Dwayne. You don't have to be chronic. A couple puffs a week is like it just makes a whole different experience for everybody. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. It just changes things. I know you don't need things changed, but it's like it just takes the edge off, man. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? To the caller, not the Muhammad guy with the 13-year-old wife, but the guy before that. I know the frustration in the United States with the two-party system, okay? But look, when you end up in Canada, he said we need like 5 parties. I'm like, all right. That's Canada for you, all right? Okay, perfect example, all right? Here's the problem with the 3-party system in Canada. You end up with 34% support, you make 100% of the decisions. So
Okay.
just think about that, and don't forget that, Americans. I understand. Like the electoral college actually sounds like a good thing because you'll never end up with South Dakota. There's probably 40 people live there anyway, but you'll never end up with South Dakota not having a voice. You know what I mean? Or because in Canada here, with the 3-party system, now that's not counting Quebec, they got the 4th party, the Separatist Party. But when you got 3 parties, basically going for your parliament, when you end up with 33% plus 1, you end up with 100% decisions. And you end up in a situation we're in right now where the Conservatives won the majority support, but we got a Liberal in Parliament. You know what I mean? So, and the 3rd party here, Mike, I bet, and I don't know if you heard about this. Check the CBC. You obviously been watching CBC today. That is cute, Mike. Right behind you. That looks sweet.
The twins were unbelievable.
Oh, the leader of the Green Party just resigned today.
Yeah, of course. That was the first CBC story I posted, Dwayne.
Oh, I watched that on you. Good. Okay, I'm not subscribed to CBC. That's right.
She just said she doesn't want to be the head of the Green Party anymore. She didn't say that she doesn't want to be. She's still the leader in Parliament for the Green Party.
You should search on YouTube though when she flipped out in the House of Commons about the fart comment.
How long ago was that?
Oh, probably about I think 2016. She
Okay.
totally freaked out when a conservative woman, attractive woman, said the word fart in the House of Commons. She totally flipped out. This is completely wrong. And look, Elizabeth May, I don't mind taking care of the environment, but that woman is nuts. Same with some of the people in your comment section talking about Jill Stein. Like, she's obviously not a Russian asset, but I don't know. Like the Americans have.
I've always liked Jill Stein. I've always thought that she's had a lot to say about the police state and freedom that you just don't hear from Democratic candidates.
She needs to learn how to talk. She sounds like such a fucking airhead when she talks, though.
They talk to her like she is. I think it's partially the way that they interview her too. Okay, but Craig, give me back my kaleidoscope. That's what I like. I like the girls, but I want the kaleidoscope back. Okay, so no, I'm glad to see Elizabeth May. It's good to have fresh leadership, dude. I mean, and maybe that will make that will bring more people their direction because they could use they could use fresh leadership. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you know that she won. She won a seat in the East Coast
Huh?
in Fredericton, New Brunswick, in the center of the city. They won 3 seats in our election, right?
Yeah.
She won the 2 on Vancouver Island, like she always does, but she actually broke through in Eastern Canada and she won one in Fredericton, New Brunswick. Maybe Americans aren't familiar with that, but Fredericton, New Brunswick. That like New Brunswick, okay, if you're not in British Columbia, New Brunswick is the place to be. What a beautiful place. What a beautiful, Bay of Fundy on the East Coast. There.
Oh yeah, no, Bay of Fundy looks like an awesome place to spend a weekend or a couple of weeks.
Oh, it is. It's always, you can walk like a mile out into the ocean and then just walk back as the tide's coming in.
Yeah, my dog loves that.
Oh, that'd be awesome for your dog.
Yeah, we have a beach over here called Double Bluff Beach, and on low tide you can go out and it just goes. You can go way out. I don't think you can go a mile out, but you can go way out, like before the water even comes above your ankles. It's awesome.
Oh, the Bay of Fundy is nice. So the Green Party actually won one out on the East Coast, and the Prince Edward Island, that little small province in Canada.
Yeah.
Prince Edward Island. The official opposition is actually the Green Party, and it's a minority government, so the official opposition actually has power. Yeah, Green Party did something this time for some reason.
Yeah.
And but that's where you have a problem. Where now you got Trudeau with 30. He got 32%, and he's the prime minister.
No, I hear what you're saying. There's no confidence there in his leadership at all.
No, none at all. But he's going to get 15 other people from these left-leaning parties to just join him for a single vote, and it's going to work. The NDP or the Bloc Québécois, because the Bloc Québécois actually, believe it or not, they're separatists in Quebec, but they're totally libtards when it comes to social issues. They're totally for abortion and all about the Green New Deal and all this stuff like that.
And that voice needs to be part of the discussion. Those people
true.
have to be represented by somebody.
Yeah, well, see, I always thought separatism was kind of a right-wing idea. Now, I don't want to put it on a scale left to right, but you kind of think that, less government or, decentralization is kind of a right-wing idea, you know what I mean? But they bring in these social policies that are all, I don't even think it's left and right and all that shit. I get what you're saying, Mike, I really do. But, these separatists in Quebec are totally libtards when it comes to social issues. I hate abortion.
Separatists meaning they want to separate from the rest of Canada?
Yeah, that's right.
Right on. Are they like talking about Cascadia? Or they want to, because that's like a whole movement. That's like a whole movement on the West Coast,
Yeah, and you know what? We're going to run into a problem with that now too, because Alberta, they elected nothing but conservatives. Now they're telling the rest of, especially Ontario, to fuck off. You know what I mean? So it sucks because now we're going to have Alberta wanting to separate from Canada too. But it's like, well, okay, if we got rid of Toronto, Ontario would be conservative as well. So there was a mayor about 12 years ago, Mel Lastman, okay, of Toronto.
Yeah, he sounds
familiar. And he actually said, we want to separate from Canada. Fuck, instead of laughing
I think I
at
remember
him,
that. Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, we should, instead of laughing at the guy, we should have said, yes, separate, get lost. Because now they're running the country, and it sucks. But anyway, have a great show, brother.
All right.
I love this show. And hey, thanks for talking to me earlier. I still, you know what? I had to go into my comment history section and actually just copy and paste back to your channel so my comments went back up. Because I actually watched my comments being deleted from your video in real time. I can't believe that.
They're doing it to everyone, Dwayne, but I know they especially hit you up on the vaccination videos. So
yeah, you saw my channel. You saw my channel get deleted in real time the one day.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, obviously the powers that be are hyper vaxxers. Get your vaccines, everyone. They're safe for you. They're candy. Fuck that, man. I'm going to fight. You know what? I actually like that label of being an anti-vaxxer. You know, I know you talk about labels a lot.
I like
I'm more
being
like
called a
fan.
rebel. I like being called an instigator. You know, I like being, you know, it's like if I could boil Mox News into one word, you know, it would be like sedition. You know.
I would say like anti-establishment, but there's a stronger word. That Callie Latson did a book on it. The Adbusters guy did a book on you. I'm telling you, and my uncle told me I was like that. And you know what? I found a channel where the guy running the channel is like that. And you know, we don't even see eye to eye on everything, but we're totally anti-establishment. You know what I mean? Coming from the right, and I guess the left, if you want to put it on a spectrum. But I love this channel, man. I love this channel. I love speaking to you. I love debating with everyone in your chat room. Everyone in the chat room right now. Like, I love Blackbird. I like that guy. Wilco, I like that guy. Uncover the News, I like that person. That Jim Lester guy, awesome. Keep coming and be a part of this channel and let everyone you know come too. 24 people watching now. We're the smartest people on this fucking planet, and this rocks, man. I love this channel. I love all of you. I love you, Mike. Peace, love, and lots of happiness for you. And you take care, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, Dwayne, it's good to hear from you. Thanks so much. Say hi to Jane for me.
I will, and it's great to talk to you, sir.
Okay. Have a nice night.
Bye-bye.
Let's see what we get here.
Call.
Hello, caller.
Hello?
Hello, caller.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, this is your brother Muhammad again.
How are you, Mohammed?
I'm not doing good. So we have a guy here. His name is Dwayne. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but his name is ugly anyway, so there's no need to pronounce it. He says my wife is 13 years old. Bitch, my kid is 13 years old. So Dwayne, you still here?
I'm probably still here.
Yeah. So this guy, he probably lives in his mama's basement, and he probably one of those guys that work at a gas station.
No.
But let me hear me out, Mike. You hear me
No,
out?
I hear you. Go ahead.
Nothing
Go
to-
ahead, Mohammed. Go ahead.
Yeah. He probably one of those guys that work at a gas station, make $5 per hour.
You gotta
And
talk
this
slow.
fucking
You gotta talk
woman-
slower, Mohammed.
Yeah. So and that ugly, creepy, greasy motherfucker telling us is talking about politics and telling us how to become successful in life. What
Okay.
have you done in your life, bitch? What have you done to tell us how to become successful? You see?
I see.
Hello?
I see. Go ahead.
Why was he cursing at me? Why was he saying my wife is 13 years old? My kid is 13 years old, bitch. You know, he probably one of those people that live in the trailers, you know, down in Texas or Georgia. I know that, you know, the crackers that live.
He's from Canada.
Same shit. Doesn't matter. Same shit. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't call
And-
Canada the
and-
same
and-
shit as
and-
Texas.
Yeah, and another thing. He lives in the most beautiful country in the world. He lives in the land of the freedom, and here he is complaining.
You know, that's part of being free.
Matter of fact, you know, we're gonna change his name. His name is gonna be Complaint Box. That's gonna be his name.
Good one, Mohammed.
Yeah, that's gonna be his name. Everybody in the comment section call him Complaint Box. Yeah, and that guy Walker is the douche guy. He's a little douche. I gotta get back to work. You know. All right, thank you so much, Mike.
Okay, Dwayne. I mean, Mohammed. Sorry about that, Mohammed. All right, so better not be Dwayne. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hi, is
Hey.
it me?
It is you.
Okay, let me turn you off there. Now, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. That's good. Boy, you're busy tonight. My goodness. How you doing, Mike? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Is Jackie Cat?
No.
Who is this? Who is this?
Yeah, I lost count who I was last time. So I got something for you.
Okay.
A couple things.
Okay.
This referendum in Washington State tomorrow, I think it's 1001.
Mm-hmm.
Affirmative action. Are you aware of it?
Mm-hmm.
You are. Have you talked about it yet?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, it's pretty intense. It's very big, and a lot of white people are going to get fired because it's going to be a lot of affirmative action going everywhere. It's nuts if it passes. And I kind of wish I would have known about it a little sooner, because then maybe you could have posted some, videos, because we're not getting anything outside the state on what's going on with this. And as you know, you get one state to do it, and then they, copy and paste it to every other state. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on as part of this global takeover, and this is one of the big pieces. And I just found out. What I'll do is, this one guy was talking about it yesterday, and I'll send you a link to that and see if there's anything that you know about it. Maybe they're not even talking about it in Washington State. Are they talking about it?
I'm not hearing
Or is it-
anything labeled affirmative action.
Yeah, it's a big affirmative action bill.
Yeah, I'm
It's-
not hearing anything labeled
And
affirmative action.
the language is so bizarre. There's so much hidden underneath it. But you know about the referendum, though, right?
Sure.
How are they portraying that there? What are they basically saying?
Again, I'm not seeing anything about it at all. I'm not seeing anything about it.
Oh, okay. Well, my understanding is there's supposed to be a vote on it tomorrow. Are you guys going to the polls tomorrow?
No,
Or today?
vote by mail here. That's the way to go.
Hmm.
Let's see. Okay, so this is what you're talking about.
I don't know. I don't see anything yet. There's the
Oh
delay.
yeah, we have like a 5-second delay here. It's weird.
Is that 88? This one's 1001. I don't know what 88 is.
Let's see. I don't know.
See if I can get the exact name of the bill. It was pretty. This guy read the whole thing. It's like 100 and some odd pages, maybe 400 pages.
Huh.
It was shocking. I mean, it's a rearrangement of everybody.
Yeah, I don't see it on here.
Okay. I'll see what I can dig up. It might be too late. I hope you guys vote no on it.
Yeah. You know,
You need a little breath.
the Washington voters, they vote good. I mean, they really are into voting, but it's odd. It's odd. I mean, like they voted to pass the legalization of marijuana, but it was a really shitty law.
Yeah.
So I
They
told
just fear
everyone.
marijuana, right?
Yeah.
And they go to the polls.
Yeah, and you only can have an ounce of weed. It's just ridiculous, I mean, this, the people don't need to be babysat with this stuff. It's the safest thing in the world. The last thing they need is the government hands all over it, and they just seem to make it worse with this stupid law.
Well, this referendum is going to be even more government hands, because it's going through all state houses, schools, everything. This thing it's like an octopus. It's everywhere. Maybe it's more like a what do they call those, centipede? Giant centipede.
Yeah.
And it's going to kind of regulate everything over everything. And I hope that it's so complicated, and that the counter argument has made at least enough efforts to get people to say no, so that they get a little bit more time to actually look through this thing. It's pretty shocking from what he was talking about. But I'll send you a link. The other thing too I saw, which I think might catch your attention, is there's a secession movement in. I'm sorry, let me take that back. There's a movement to break up the state of Washington into two states, East and West. What do you think about that?
I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, you know, Washington is a great state, and that's just gonna complicate things. I think that there'd be a lot of issues for both sides. You know, I mean, there's no reason for it. I think that the whole state should secede from the nation, and that would be, you know, there's a movement called Cascadia. Are you familiar with
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
I am very familiar with that.
Yeah, I think that
I'm really into
always
the whole secession thing.
I always say, you know, Cascadia now, Cascadia always, Cascadia
Yeah.
forever.
Well, the problem with Cascadia is it's supposed to go all the way south to Northern California, all the way up into BC. And it's all a lot of coastline. I don't think the federal government's going to let that go.
Well, they're not going to want.
You
They're
know?
not going to want to let the coastline of Washington go or anything else. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's going to be a
but
struggle.
it's not up to them. I mean, it's something that it's in the Constitution. We have the right to do if we choose to do it.
Well, yeah, that was said once before about 1860.
Right.
And
I
then
agree.
they said they changed it. Oh, yeah. It's a big, there's a bunch of movements. I mean, you've got the Northwest Front right next door. And then you've got New England. And then you've got the Superior, which I think is a really interesting movement. It's very small, but it's quite cute. Then there's been talk about Utah, of course, Northern California and Jefferson, and then Colorado. Everybody's talking about and it's getting momentum because there's a secession movement in California, and then there's breaking the state up into 3 states, which is also very interesting. If they were to do that, if they broke California up into 3 states, North Cal, South Cal, and then California proper, which of course is, you know, all the poor people are shoved off to the side, by the way. If they were to do that, that's 4 extra Senate seats in Congress.
Yeah.
And you know where those seats are going to go. They're going to go pretty much in the liberal bent. That means that everybody else is going to be kind of pissed off and say, well, we want to break our states up, you know?
Yeah.
You could take a state like Montana or Wyoming and say, you know, you can justify that just by size, not by GDP, but by size. And this is what's inspiring Washington State in the West. And there's like West Cascadia and East Cascadia. And I think there's a more conservative group of people who want Cascadia, and there's a liberal group of people who want Cascadia. And I don't know how the two meet unless they just meet on the mountain, you know? And that western or that eastern part of Cascadia would definitely bleed into the Northwest Front. There's no way around it. You get Idaho and western Montana, and you'd have a pretty nice big region there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
scenery,
Yeah.
you know.
Like I said,
But then,
it's beautiful real estate. The government's not ever going to want to just let that go. You know, it's gonna come down to something that's, you know, gonna resemble some kind of a civil war if that ever happens.
well, see, that's the thing. You know, the idea is peaceful secession. But
Right.
I think that what we might have to start looking at is the state first, the separation of state, breaking states up.
Yeah.
And if you do that, then you have a little bit more control, and it's a step in the right direction.
So you think?
But you know,
Yeah. Go ahead.
well, I mean, think about the revolution. You know, in 1776, that was secession. Basically.
Yeah, I agree. That was, you know, you're not the boss of us. Go away, and you know, and that's what I keep telling people is that this this is the spirit from which we're cut, is this
Yeah.
revolutionary rebel spirit that's supposed to, that I believe the founding fathers really thought there would be a revolution by now, if not a few
Yeah.
of them, to say enough of this over intrusive government that has no business in my fucking bedroom.
Yeah.
And yet they just,
Well, this
and yet these people have become so docile with fucking television and internet that
Yeah.
there's just no fight left in them.
Oh yeah, and they say, well, we settled that question, and during the Civil War. Well, not really.
No.
And if you think about it, there's no way Lincoln would have gotten the votes had he not separated West Virginia from Virginia. He needed the 2 votes. He created a state. He had a state secede from another state.
Interesting.
And they call West Virginia the bastard child of Washington and Virginia,
Yeah.
or Maryland and Virginia. That's what and
That's
and
hilarious.
if you look at that state, it's like it's always at the bottom. It's always at the bottom in everything, and it's constantly impoverished. Education, everything. It's like whoever lived there at that time just got stuck in a holler, and they never got out.
Yeah.
And so if Lincoln was able to do that, because he would have never gotten his Civil War, he would have never gotten the troops. Then he went to the banks, and the banks said, "Hey, sure, we'll fund your Civil War, 40% usury." So he prints the greenback, right?
Uh-huh.
And as soon as he's shot the next day, they cancel the greenback and they start borrowing from the banks again. So all wars are banker wars. We know that.
It sure seems like
Secession
that's
is going to be
true.
caused by banks as well. Buffett, Soros, they want us to divide.
Yeah.
But we're halfway there already, so what the hell?
Well, it's just we have to move forward, and it seems like a lot of people are just dragging their feet from moving forward, and that just people are tired of this, we want to live in the 1950s shit,
Well, yeah, that's part of it too, and that demographic is dying and shrinking, and you've got all this immigration coming in, and these people are coming. They're frightened. They have no idea what kind of culture this is or what our democracy is about. So they're easy to push around. I'll just go blow some country up and send the refugees here. Like that's that's a good idea.
Yeah, no,
So there's a pushback now. There's a pushback against all these wars. There's a pushback, against all this immigration. There's a pushback against all the jobs being lost.
Do you think there's a pushback against the war, like a serious pushback against the wars?
Well, they know what's causing the wars. They know it's bankers.
Yeah.
War.
Yeah.
They know it's not just Wall Street, but it's also the World Bank.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is the whole situation between foreign aid and these wars it's just another Ponzi. But on top of that, a lot of people don't realize this, but the banks collapsed last week, and nobody's talking about it because about 3 months ago, the Fed passed a policy that we would have forever quantitative easing. So people think of TARP, that $700 billion. They think that was it. That wasn't it. 2009, 10, 11, and 12, Obama kept bailing the banks out to the tune of $23 trillion. And for half of that, for about $11 trillion, Obama could have paid off every mortgage, every credit card debt, every student loan. Instead, he gave it to the banks. People don't talk about that because it's not their guy. And the media
they don't talk about it because they don't want that to be Obama's legacy, which is what the truth is. So
yeah, but you know what I think, and I'm not just going to push everything on Obama. I didn't like him anyway, but because he was just, to me, he was just another CEO. not unlike Trump or Clinton or any of the others. But he they just didn't report it. Now the people who did report it, that's independent media, so who reads that? So I know, a couple other people know, Glenn Greenwald knows, Tulsi Gabbard knows, but what can I do? No one else is talking about it because there's only 6 companies that own our whole communications. How do we even talk to each other when when it's so isolated from the people? We don't own our own media anymore. Clinton gave that up. He handed it all over to these mega corporations by changing the laws. So now you have forever quantitative easing. And that means that when the banks can't, deal with the repo on the night before, we just bail them out. And we take the debt, we put it on top of the future of the American people. And the people, nobody's saying a word because nobody knows it was done. Or few people know. Zero Hedge knows, But it's just, we're living in a prison planet. Alice Jones is right. Or Paul Joseph Watson's right. Whoever owns that. It is. It's, debt is the reservation. Prison is the new plantation. And war is a culture of death. And that's what we're living under. We're like in one big landmass shopping mall. It's not America anymore. It's just a place that we live. And the only way you can change it is to get your like minds to try and come together and move to one place and see what you can create if you're lucky enough to do it. And you don't get all Waco or anything like that.
Yeah, I think maybe it's easy to go Waco if you don't have people around you that say anything except for yes, 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 yes. But
Yeah.
but luckily, most of us live in the real world, and you have to be like, okay, so I can't walk through the wall. When I was when I was in the 2nd grade, I was reading this the dead men staring at goats or whatever, where they were
Oh, yeah.
yeah, where they believed that they could walk through walls and project themselves, around the world and stuff like that. And
Cool.
and I totally believed. I was reading all about this stuff, and I totally believed that if I totally believed that I could walk through the wall, that I could do it. And I fucking ran smack into the fucking wall.
You actually tried it.
At school, running as fast as I could, woke up in the doctor's office.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You really tried.
2nd grade. A lot of shit happened in 2nd grade. Weird deal.
Yeah. Well, I don't expect us to walk through walls, but, you got to have a philosophy. You got to have something. If it's not a religion, you got to have something that you hang on to. And the only way you can do that is to read history. And, as Santayana said, those who do not learn the lessons of history are doomed to repeat them.
I never ran full speed into a wall again.
See, you learn the lesson. But if you didn't tell somebody that story, they might try it, right?
I highly recommend that you try it if you actually believe that you can do it. Because you never know. I still believe it was, the whole point is that if we can use enough of our brain, like humans only use 10% of their brain or whatever it is that they tell you, is that if you could use, 90% of your brain, that that might become a reality. So, and the big part of that was actually believing that it can be a reality. And I'm just not quite ready to let go of that belief entirely. So,
Yeah. Well, I know a lot more people are talking about the 4th dimension and stepping into that. So maybe that's where you're headed.
It's entirely possible. I read a lot of Eastern, Native American philosophy, and they seem to talk about, other dimensions and stepping through a veil,
Yeah.
to something completely different than what's happening in this reality.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that the sort of a little bit of the cliche Isis says to lift her veil, in order to see the truth of things. So, whether we can do that or not, in the meantime, what do you do?
Keep the
You know,
faith.
get-
I have the motto. It's march or die. So
march or die.
march or die. That's your options. Keep moving forward, or you're done.
Well, I like vigilance, always be vigilant and catch the crooks while you can.
Well, we try and help people understand who the crooks are. Most people are still a little bit under an illusion about that.
Yeah, I think they kind of have an idea now compared to 10 years ago. But
Yeah,
the thing is, they're not interested in the details, and the details is where the devil is, as they say.
Yeah.
Yet they don't. They're so consumed with just the daily stuff, and as you said before, TV and the internet. It's kind of interesting. Japan just went to a 4-day work week this week. So maybe we're headed towards that now.
That does sound, it seems like a very good thing to me.
Yeah. Yang's been talking about that. He brought it up, and I was wondering, he was talking about UBI all this time, and once in a while he'd mention, we need to cut back on the days, would you like to have a 3-day weekend always? And then this past week he's been going on and on and on about him, going, why? And then all of a sudden today, boom, Japan. They passed a law, they're going to do it.
Yeah, Japan, they're I think that they have always been, it seems like, well, no, I can't say that they've always been kind of worker friendly, but it seems like as the population gets older, that they, I don't know, maybe they don't want to have people working so hard because they're getting older.
Yeah, well, they said that productivity goes up 40%, which is pretty good when you think about it.
Oh, no, that's, yeah, you might as well. I mean, you save money, you don't have to pay wages, and you get more product. It seems like a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
All right,
there's a lot.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say there's a lot. There's a lot going on. And I think people are sick of working. I think Americans are sick of working.
I think people are number one, they're overworked. And I think that they're sick of just busting ass to pay the rent. You know what I mean? If they actually were, getting somewhere in the world, maybe it would be worthwhile to be working, but they just work. It's like I keep saying, I believe that most people are the same in the fact that they just want a minute to enjoy. Just a minute. If I could just have a minute where I could just like really let everything go and just enjoy that, whatever it is. And I think a lot of people have that feeling on the inside, and they don't get to that experience that.
Yeah.
And they're desperate.
Well, it's true. The modern world was supposed to create all these conveniences so that we could have more time, and that computers they were going to save us time, but in the end, it does nothing but just make you available 24/7. And so it went the wrong way. In the meantime, wages stayed low or stagnant, and all those and inflation's gone up on the things you need to live. And so what happened is, rather than getting your raise as you should have, the elites got it. That's what made them billionaires.
Right.
So you look at those billions and billions of dollars. That's your wages that they've confiscated because they've kept them low. They put people out of business. Home Depot, hardware stores out of business, Walmart, grocery stores, and the little sundry stores, and the department stores. They've put them all out of business. Amazon is wrecking everyone.
Amazon
And yet-
is making every brick and mortar their bitch. That's for sure.
They are, and whatever left of them.
Yeah.
And then what he's doing on top of that is he pays his employees so little, they have to go on welfare, which we pay for. So they have to get food stamps, they have to get housing help, and yet he's a libertarian, by the way. Yet the government does nothing because these banks and these corporations own they have lobbyists, they own the lawmakers. So what are they going to do? You got two parties here, the DNC and the RNC. The DNC is constantly in debt to these banks. So the banks say, well, if you want to run this guy, that's great. We'll give you the loan to do it. But if you're going to run this other guy who wants to regulate the banks, we'll call in your loans if you do. So they don't go and support him. Meanwhile, the RNC gets their money from the bankers. And so they have to rely on these guys for their donations. And they say, hey there, with a cigar in their hand, Senator so-and-so, why don't you vote on this banking bill that favors us? Well, I don't know if my constituents would like that very much. Well, you know what? Your campaign is a little bit shy. Maybe you need a little incentive there. We'll start a pact, and give you that. So our whole legislature is bought and sold by banks and corporations. The banks connected to the corporations in the media own communications. And then they also have a big stake in the war companies. Raytheon and Boeing. How do you get free of that? They own the communications. They own your war machine.
I think things
they own
like
your economy.
I think in order to get free of that, we have to nationalize companies like Exxon and Boeing and Raytheon, because private companies don't need to be in the business of building weapons of war to start with. Okay, that does not need to be happening. And another thing, the fucking fuel, the oil that's underneath our feet, that belongs to the people, not some fucking company. And that's the reason that we're paying $4 a gallon at the pump, because we give the company money to fucking the rights to take the oil out of the ground and then sell it back to us at a fucking exorbitant rate. And we give them these giant fucking tax cuts so that all their CEOs can make hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, so let's walk through that. Okay, so you're right. There's no argument to any of this.
And
but how do you go about it, making it happen when they own the lawmakers, the economy, and the communications? How do you wake people up or smarten everybody? 266 million voters. How do you do that?
Well, I've been doing my best for quite a while now. And I think that I've been successful in a lot of different categories for a lot of different people.
It's too bad we can't measure it. But then even if we could measure it, it's not enough because it's not happening.
It's so weird. I feel so responsible for Donald Trump. It's like, oh man, I did this. God damn it. Why did, cause I feel like if it wasn't for me, maybe, people wouldn't have been so angry and they wouldn't have been so ready to fucking make an angry vote for, this douchebag character who they knew would bully people and be a douchebag character.
Ridiculous.
What's that?
You're talking about a populist guy who basically lied about everything, compared to a war criminal like Hillary Clinton. I mean, it would be wrong to vote for her. It was immoral to vote for Hillary Clinton. She was literally a war criminal. She should be at The Hague.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and so do so many people. That's why they chant "lock her up" at his.
That's right.
Because they knew that that's the truth about Hillary Clinton. This is what I was saying about people not being willing to make a deal with the devil. You know, I mean,
Right.
there's like people, and it's like if I actually go and fucking make a deal with the devil, then it's just like I lose my integrity. I'm just not the person that I believe that I am.
And
You know,
It's,
and
it's a tough situation because you have to vote between the lesser of two evils. And then that, the lesser of two evils depends on the topic as well,
yeah,
because Trump's no angel and he's totally and absolutely dedicated to Israel. I mean, his minds will be the United States of Israel at this point.
he
So,
seems like he couldn't be more pro-Israel if they were paying him in big buckets of dump trucks full of fucking $100 bills. You know.
full of shekels anyway. Yeah, I mean, they named a town after him. They've got banners all over the place for him.
Well, I gave
Call
them
him
the
the King of
Golan.
Israel.
I gave them the Golan Heights. Come on. And I said it's okay for them to go ahead and annex parts of the fucking West Bank. Go ahead, do it. No one cares. No one's cared forever. What have you been waiting for? Do
Pretty
it.
much. Oh, and then you got the Saudis, sure, yeah. So what if they're slaughtering the Yemenis? Who cares? They're buying $5 billion, dollars worth of weapons. They can't even manage them. They have to import Colombian fighters because the Saudis can't fight.
That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense.
You got farmers.
Well, they all have like they all have like a
this.
universal basic income, right, in that country,
They
don't they?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's very nice, what they get. Well, like Gaddafi, he was very generous to people. He shared the wealth.
Yeah.
But as he said, I'm the gatekeeper. If you take me out, the flood's going to come into Europe like you never believed. He was right, but they didn't care. Hillary didn't care. She left
That's
her ass.
what they wanted. They did care. This is all purposeful. Okay. It may not be exactly the way they planned it, but this is the outcome they wanted.
But you've seen that Amy Goodman and General Clark video. I think it was on your channel.
Yeah, where he's talking about the different states that they're gonna the countries they're gonna invade.
Exactly, yeah. And they've done it. Except the only one outstanding is Iran right now.
Iran, yeah.
And if they go in, I mean, it's all targeted. And Iran doesn't need a nuclear bomb to destroy Israel.
Iran doesn't want a nuclear bomb. They don't want a nuclear bomb. But they don't really have much choice,
Well, the Saudis got it. Bush gave it to them.
And not just that, they're sitting at the edge of destruction with the United States just foaming at the mouth like a freaking rabid dog, and the Saudis are freaking insane. They're messed up people. They will start problems and not give a fuck. So what?
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
Because they're the first ones out of the country.
Yeah.
When things get rough.
Yeah.
First ones to run. When Saddam invaded Kuwait, where all the royals, they all headed to Monaco and Paris. That's where they went. And while everybody else was like,
Well, they knew the U.S. was on the way then, so.
Yeah. Well, they did, and I gotta hand it. Well, first of all, there was no reason for us to go in there. It wasn't our business, and we basically told Saddam, "Go ahead,
yeah,
slant drilling on your property."
But there was a massive environmental, horrible environmental catastrophe going on there with the oil wells on fire, and
that was after us, though.
What?
They set those up after we invaded. That's when those happened.
After we no.
Yeah, after we invaded, he set them
well,
off.
I'm talking about the first time when.
Yeah, Gulf War.
What's that?
91.
Okay,
yeah,
so
no, the reason he went in there, Saddam Hussein went to the ambassador for the U.S. and said, "Look, the Kuwaitis are on our borders and they're slant drilling, which is basically what they're doing is they're sticking a pipe in
Yeah,
and they're sucking our oil out. We want them
right,
to stop.
right.
We ask them, we ask them, we ask them.
They're
They
drilling
won't
like
stop.
in a horizontal fashion.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what they were doing. And so he said, I want to go in. Are you guys going to have a problem with that? And she said, we have no policy on this situation. So he took that as, okay. So he went in there, shook them up. Then they came, all of a sudden, it's all of a sudden, oh my God, this is terrible. Rather than it's just a conflict that they need to resolve.
I mean,
We went in
he
and
set
said,
the whole place
"There-
on fire, dude. It couldn't just
No,
burn
he
and
didn't
burn.
set anything on fire.
Okay.
They started talking about the incubator babies. It was all a big lie. They talked about all these rapes and all this stuff that's going on. That's not what happened. They went in, they shook things up. They basically, the Kuwaiti royals took off. They kind of destroyed the state house. And they were basically saying, stay out of our property, and that was it. Well, that's not what George Bush said to the UN or anybody else. All of a sudden, he decides that he's going to rescue the Kuwaitis. And that's how we got in there. And after we invaded, that's when he set off the oil, after we started bombing.
Okay.
So, and then after that, a lot of people don't realize or know that when Clinton won, he kept bombing them. I mean, he killed more than Bush. There was so much destruction and starvation.
Yeah,
going
no,
on.
I mean, look, Iraq was punished in a really horrible way, and nobody acted like it mattered at all. And then they went in and they destroyed it for no reason a second time, and it's
Well, he had the weapons of mass destruction.
yeah,
And
we
what he
gotta
wanted to
fight him.
do-
We gotta fight him over there, so we don't have to fight him over here. And we don't want the warning to come in the shape of a mushroom cloud.
the thing is, the guy who works for Colin Powell, what's his name, General West something or other, he said Colin Powell didn't think anybody would believe him when he brought that little vial. He
Wilkerson.
just kind of put the
Wilkerson.
Right? Yeah, Wilkerson. So, but the thing was
And do you think that people believed him? I mean, because
everybody believed.
from what I saw, there was millions of people in the street saying this is a bunch of bullshit.
Well, yeah, but it didn't matter because the broader populace believed him. They were frightened. They didn't care what the details were. It was a possibility now, a seed planted in their head. So it didn't matter. But the thing that triggered Saddam was the 9/11, and they started to use that to make it look like Saddam did that. So they mixed that in there.
They tried to make it look like Saddam was involved in some way, like the Al Qaeda was there in Iraq, and they were planning the whole mission in Iraq, and Saddam was helping them, and all of it was a fucking giant lie that was formulated in the White House and in the Pentagon to mind fuck the American people into war, costing them trillions of dollars. And now we're just supposed to believe everything that comes out of the Pentagon and everything that comes out of the White House without question.
Yeah.
And
I don't think that everybody's doing that anymore.
The only person who acts like that's that's the reality in the presidential field is Tulsi Gabbard. And she's always acted like that for years. And they always talk about her going to Syria. She explained that she went to Syria because the Pentagon lied us into Iraq, and she didn't want to be lied. She didn't want to be lied to. She wanted to know what was going on. And And it's really important to make this point that the Pentagon and the White House put our soldiers into harm's way based on lies. And
Yeah.
there is absolutely not a single human being who has more potential to hold those people accountable than Tulsi Gabbard. And she's the
Yeah.
only one who acts in the slightest like that is something that she wishes she could make happen. And those people who lied us into a war are war criminals who murdered 1 million innocent Iraqis. Okay?
Yeah.
And you know what that does to the psyche of our soldiers who all are aware of that they participated in the murder of 1 million innocent Iraqis? It breaks them. They can't
Yeah.
come back and be proud human beings because they participated in something horrible.
Well, it's like 20,000 or somewhere around there a year of soldiers committing suicide.
And it's
A
all
really
and
high number.
they want them to commit suicide so that
Like
they
eight
don't be
soldiers a
so
day.
they don't. It's like with the first responders where they wouldn't give the first responders the health care and they had to
Yeah.
fight for everything in the beginning. It was because they wanted them to die off. They
Yeah.
didn't want them there
They are
telling
dying off.
their story about what happened on 9/11 if it ever comes up again, like in case Tulsi Gabbard gets fucking elected president and we start talking about 9/11 again, which is what
Well-
all of us fucking wish would happen.
Before we leave this topic and move to a little bit further, because there is something about 9/11 that's just come up again that's related to that whole area, and it's an environmental disaster. But before that, I just want to say in 1998, Saddam Hussein started approaching the EU to start selling oil to Europe in euros. And a lot of people believe that's why we went in 2003. So you don't, because the oil is based on dollars,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So we no longer gold backed, it's oil backed. And
Yeah,
if you start selling oil in euros,
yeah,
the dollar drops.
right.
So that was it. And every time, every
Well,
single
and
country.
it was going to make Dick Cheney really rich, because
Well, yeah, he had the stake in Halliburton at that time.
yeah, and fucking George W. Bush's father owns the Carlyle Group, which he founded with Osama bin Laden's father, and is now worth
Well,
100, if not 1,000 times more than it
that's not
was worth before the fucking Iraq War.
No, it wasn't him who founded it or bin Laden.
Yes,
They
it
were invited
was.
in. No. There's two Jewish guys founded it at the Carlisle Hotel. You can go look that up. That one's really easy to find.
Mhm.
But they didn't start it. They became members. But all that way of making money is just a sidecar compared to the disaster, an environmental disaster they cause, and the illnesses that
Right.
a lot of Americans soldiers were going through because they were burning all that shit they didn't know
Yeah,
was toxic.
yeah.
So there's a lot of lies about that, and then it's like a lot
Yeah,
of people
again,
believe.
this is
especially-
another thing where the soldiers who we love so much, oh look at the soldiers, oh my God, they're like the best of the best, and they have to fight to get people to listen. The authorities like the Congress and the White House and the Pentagon to listen that they're having illnesses from these burn pits, and the burn pits, and the reason again that they have to fight instead of just oh we love them so much and we want them to have everything, the best medical care they can possibly get, right, Trumpy? Instead of just giving them that, they drag their feet, hoping that these people will die off. And then it's not going to
Yeah.
cost so much when we finally give them a little bit of money so that they can get proper health care.
Well, that's how the whole system works. Corporations and everything. I mean, that's why I think secession is the best way to go, because then you're going to rely on the local people or your regional people, and you just disengage from these corporations. But but they need it. They need the slavery that we provide in low wages, and they just want to keep us busy. The goal is to get rid of most of the population down to 500 million. That's what they want. And they're dead set on turning the United States into Mumbai, just rich and poor. And they're bringing all the people from these places, low IQ, culturally unfamiliar with anything about the United States, insecure because they're loaded with fear from endless wars in their own country. It's a perfect mix to create a third world shithole, and that's what they want to do.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that they're trying desperately to just make it so there is no middle class anymore, for sure.
There's definitely this one guy put a film together. He's gone through a lot of American cities, and I'm telling you, you would look at these and you'd think these places are worse than third world countries.
Yeah.
It's amazing
Yeah.
how far the infrastructure is just falling apart, and they don't care
I
as
agree.
long as the corporations make the money, and they can keep endless wars going.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
because that's
I
where the
agree.
money is.
All right. So, what do you think of the new studio? You like it or not?
I like your background.
Right on. Good.
It's very cool. You get a green screen in there, huh?
Yeah. No, it's a whole new room. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just see the kaleidoscope.
Yeah, I'm just figuring it out. That's just like a warm up background. I kind of like that one.
Yeah, that one's really pretty. I like these. These are very nice.
I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna get some sharks with lasers on their freaking heads.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. There's race cars, and there's skiers, and there's bicycles. You can do all kinds of stuff with those backgrounds. It's very nice. I wish I could do it on my channel because, but I can't keep the connection going. And when they got rid of Google Hangout, you have to use OBS. Is that what you use?
Yeah, we're getting that warmed up on that now.
Yeah. What do you use now?
The OBS.
Oh, you are using it.
Yeah.
Is it open source or using Streamlabs?
It's the open source one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one's nice and simple. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
But you still have to have a good connection.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring this up really quickly.
Okay, hurry up.
Just going back to 9/11. So, when those buildings fell, there was all that asbestos and shit that went all into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Well, what they found is a lot of it ended up on the coast of New England. From New Jersey all the way to Maine.
Yeah.
And it's gone inland. And, asbestos doesn't just fall into the soil and dissolve.
Yeah,
it's
floats.
still sitting there.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden these people who live on the coast, they're all starting to get cancer.
Wow.
So you might want to check that out and look it up, see if there's any reports on it.
Yeah.
I've just seen one
I'll
news
definitely take a look.
but there's a map with a grid of how far this stuff has gone and how intense it is.
Yeah.
And kids are just breathing this asbestos every time the wind blows.
This is why I keep saying, as we deserve better, your kids deserve better. We can't leave it like this. We can't wait for someone else to fix it. We're the ones we're waiting for, okay? We have to be the ones because otherwise all of your descendants are going to pay the price. And I mean, it's going to be an ugly price to pay, Well,
I agree. I just don't know how you're going to get so many people to get started. Because they work so hard to keep us divided, either race or gender, religion, abortion. They'll come up with some way to keep us from talking to each other.
But see, that's the thing is, even though they do that, I mean, we're able to transcend those things here. So I think those things are kind of imaginary. And that once we actually are able to get into the same virtual room, like, the important 90% of the planet, then we can have the discussion, which may take a year or two, but what is the first priority that we have to make happen because we don't have the time to fuck around anymore and depend on these people who go for 4 martini lunches to to get out of their fucking cozy little happy spot and actually make something happen that's gonna affect the planet and what the course of human history. This is where we're at. We have to change the course of human history. We have to do it now. We don't have the time to just keep kicking that football down the road because like I said, if you continue to do that, I don't have a stake in the game. Okay, I'm not long for this world, and I don't have any descendants to worry about at all. Not a single one.
Mhm.
And that means, I'm simply doing this because I know your children deserve better. They deserve better than a Pentagon that lies them into fake wars and gets the blood of 1 million innocent Iraqis on it. That done in their name with your tax dollars, and we haven't even begun to feel the blowback of that.
No.
Okay, that's just
Well,
not
see,
even on our radar. It's like we don't even know that it exists, and it's going to come down like fucking Thor's hammer, and it's just so. I mean, and I'm not a fear monger. I'm not a fear spreader. I think you guys are strong, and we can handle whatever. But you have to get that how evil the Pentagon is, and that they're making it so that you're the one that are going to have to pay the price for their evil. You and your children and generations of children to come. So recognize who the real enemy is, and don't for one fucking half a second ever fucking bow down to them like they're someone that you should respect.
Yeah. It's like I say, it's the challenge is huge, and I wish I could just say, well, we get Tulsi elected, then we're on our way. But they're never going to let her. They're never going to let her up there. They're not going to let Yang up there. They're not going to let Tulsi up there.
Yeah.
You're going to get Trump, Biden, maybe Bernie, maybe if he doesn't die.
But if we actually are able to get people behind Tulsi, and then immediately following the election, Tulsi, because she's not running for Congress, Tulsi and Yang and maybe Bernie come together and say, yes, the system is completely not just broken, crooked. And the people and everybody's in on it, and all the voters know it too. And we are now forming this new thing, and we want to make a real thing happen. And because Bernie's not a fucking Democrat, they said that about him over and over again in 2016. He's not even a real Democrat. I'm sure Hillary said those exact words.
Yeah. Well, the whole Democratic Party is just one big neoliberal corruption. We know that. We know how they screwed him out of it. And there's a lot of people mad at Bernie. That's why he's not doing so well this time around, because he cucked to Hillary. So, but now he's sick. So I don't know. You know what I would be what we really need is we need real leadership where you have these kind of people come forward and say, you know what, pack your stuff, move to my state, and let's see what we can do there. And let's set a model. Let's create a role model and let's all move to Vermont and create a role model. Everybody come who can do it, and we'll do it. We'll get housing, we'll get the health care, we'll get jobs, we'll get everything going here. We'll reach out to Elon Musk, and we'll get some robots going, and we'll get some kind of industry that we can support ourselves with, and we'll show the country how to do it. That's all you need. That's all you need. You need a couple people who are willing just to, say, let's go do it. And, every time you have somebody who gets close to that, like Dylan Ratigan, they all of a sudden vanish. You never see them on the media again. So you got to have somebody who's got the will and the backing to say, let's do it. Come on up here, guys. Come to Vermont, or come to, well, I would say Hawaii, but that's not so easy to do for most Americans.
Yeah.
But it could be done. Of course, I don't think the Hawaiians would like that so much.
Hawaiians are having a real problem with they're having a real problem with homeless people, and I just think
Yeah.
an influx of a whole bunch of more people from the lower 48,
Well,
they probably
being
wouldn't
where
be
they're-
real big
yeah.
happy with.
being in the middle of the ocean doesn't help. And they also have, they have a whole list of other, well, they have a secession movement too, as does Alaska.
Yeah.
But Vermont's cold, you know, but if you're willing to suffer the cold, you know, or if you just get enough people, like-minded people to say, okay, we're all moving to Superior, let's go. We're all moving to Cascadia, let's go.
We just have to all come together on the internet, like I'm saying. See, there's people, like you said, you mentioned Elon Musk. See, he's one of these guys who's smart enough to be able to make this happen, where we can do
Yeah.
some kind of a fucking giant town hall where everybody,
Right.
because everybody has a phone, everybody has, some way of, joining together at their fucking local bar or wherever, and we can have these giant town halls and realize that the things that we share in common are so much more important and so much more overwhelming than the tiny things that they have us that separated into our little categories with. And it just it might take, like I said, a year to get this thing where it's like organized and everybody actually shows up or whatever, but
Well,
we
when you
need
say
somebody
that-
like Elon Musk working on it, somebody who actually understands and would have a vision on how to make that happen. I mean, I can reach out all day long, but YouTube's never going to let me get anywhere. As soon as I actually began getting somewhere, they go, oh no, he's doing this or that, and we got to shut him down.
Yeah, well, that's what they've been doing. They've been shutting people down.
Yeah.
But when you say this, are you talking about like a town hall internet where everybody just stays where they're living? Or are you talking about actual people moving to a location in real life?
No, just
And
an internet town hall where we begin a discussion about what it is that we have to make happen if we actually want the species to survive.
Yeah, but isn't that already happening with the
No,
climate
it's not
change?
happening. No, it's not happening. Again, what's happening is people are getting in their little chat rooms and they're fucking getting angry, and their little personal chip on their shoulder is getting knocked off, and that's just making them attack more, and YouTube just deleted my fucking comment, and what the fuck is wrong with Mox News censoring my comments, and okay, no, it's not happening now. What's happening now is an anger level increasing to the point of, I don't want anything to do with Facebook anymore. I don't want anything to do with the internet anymore. Fuck it. I don't, and the internet is great.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Facebook is great. I know YouTube is fucked, but that is solely because of the management of YouTube. Okay? If it were not...
There's a petition to have her fired, you know that.
Yeah, that's good. I hope everybody knows that. Because, I mean, that person, it would be so easy to fix. It's like I said, you put this PewDiePie guy in front of, into the management position for 2 weeks, and he'd have it fucking hammered out to where it was like, boom, this is really nice. This is fucking awesome. I love this.
You're right.
Yeah.
PewDiePie can do a better job than most of them.
Yeah, and how much is that person getting paid? Oh my God. And they're getting paid to what? Make all of the people who produce videos angry? To fuck with them? To mind fuck them? Into all the people who write comments, who take a minute out of their busy life to try and be part of a discussion, and you just delete what they just spent 5 minutes writing and they thought was, okay, I got it, it's fucking brilliant, post it. And now, do you even want to go back and try and post that again? Or you just go, fuck it, I'm not posting any comments anymore. And you get to where, I don't want anything to do with the internet. I don't want to deal with Facebook, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's what the powers that be want, is they want us to give up connecting with each other, because they got us where we're mad at each other, and it's not each other that we're mad at. It's this programmed thing where do you know the movie Kingsman?
Yeah.
Yeah, where Samuel Jackson is the evil mastermind, and he gives everybody free cell phone.
Yeah.
Right, and the cell phone makes people go insanely angry. I think
Yeah.
that's what's being done with these things, these platforms like Facebook and YouTube, is they're doing their best to up the anger level of the daily user to the point
Well-
of, I don't even want anything to do with this anymore.
Do
And
you know?
go ahead.
Do you know the user? Do you know this user Styx Hexenhammer?
The who, what now?
Do you know the user Styx Hexenhammer?
I don't know.
Okay, so it's this guy. He's in Vermont, and he's kind of like a gothy sort of fellow. It's like 30, but he's kind of losing the goth stuff now.
Uh-huh.
And basically, he predicted everything that went. He did a good job predicting Trump.
Uh-huh.
He does a lot of political videos. They're like, he does 3 or 4 of these a day, and they're like 10 minutes or 5 minutes each. So he's got a nice following. So, and he's been watching the platforms, and he's been going to several platforms, that he uploads his stuff, which is great. Well, he saw what YouTube was doing, and one of his platforms is BitChute. So now what he's doing is he doesn't take any super chats. All his stuff is Patreon.
Uh-huh.
So and Subscribestar. So what he's doing is he's uploading 3 videos on YouTube and all the other platforms, but one video he won't upload on YouTube. He'll put it only on BitChute to get people to move from YouTube over to a new platform.
Huh.
So that's his tactic
Yeah.
in changing, okay, I can just sit here and bitch about YouTube all day long. They don't even care what I say.
Yeah.
And I bring in a lot of money, for their content that they try to attach to my stuff. Let's see what I can do with this. In fact, just found out today, there's another user, this guy gets like sometimes $1,000, $2,000 when he does a live stream.
Huh. Wow.
And his name's Mr. Medicare.
Huh.
Are you familiar with him?
No.
He does really off the wall kind of stuff. And today, they just told him he's been demonetized.
Wow.
And so all that money that he has been collecting this past month,
Uh-huh.
Google's keeping it, and they won't give it to him.
Well, it can't be donations. It can't be super chat donations. That would be illegal. That would be stealing money from people.
Yeah, so he has to get a lawyer. And who gets a lawyer? They're doing that to a lot of people.
Huh.
They're just keeping the money. And if you want to come and get it, you can apply for it. You can get yourself a lawyer, and then they'll do it.
Huh.
But who's got the time and money for that?
Yeah.
You would think he would.
No,
But,
I mean, they're doing a lot of illegal things. I again have talked about, and the only reason they're getting away with it. And where the fuck is the ACLU? And where the fuck is the EFF? You're supposed to be policing this bullshit. This is not supposed to be done to the American people or internet users, EFF. And you're acting and you're just nowhere to be found. And there could never be a bigger money-making poster for the ACLU or the EFF, Electronic Freedom Foundation.
Yeah.
Than
he?
a lawsuit against Google. Okay, because it's going to get covered everywhere, and there's going to be all these people who will be like, "Fuck yeah, I hate Google. Here's some money. Fucking sue the hell out of Google."
Yeah, and the thing is, if you really wanted to, if you had a great legal team, you could go in and take Google and make it public out of just the 1, antitrust, and 2, because Google is the property of the state of California to Stanford University, where it was developed. And we own it because we were the taxpayers that paid for its development. And yet they walked away with it.
Yeah. So Google needs to be nationalized or whatever. But I don't care. I mean, there's got to be, my whole thing is they're breaking the law in so many ways.
Yeah.
And it's like you would think someone like the ACLU, who makes their living going after Goliath, standing up for the little guy, would be wanting to stand up for the little guy. And where the fuck are they? You
Well,
know,
I'll tell you something. When
I
they
think the
abandoned,
ACLU is now afraid of free speech issues. That's what I think.
well, I knew it was over. If you can go back to, I think it's the 1970s, where the Nazis marched in Skokie, Illinois. Are you familiar with that piece of history?
Sounds really familiar.
Yeah. Well, it was a Jewish community in Illinois. It's just north of Chicago, called Skokie, the largest village in the world. And the Nazis got a what do you call it, a permit to march through it. You know, the local neo-Nazis.
Uh-huh.
And it happened. They did it. They marched through the village. They had their little rally and speech, you know, and everybody just stood there and watched. The news cameras saw it all. Nothing broke out, no fights. The ACLU defended the Nazis that they could do this. Because there were, you know, people who said, hey, you know what, we're Holocaust victims. Or, you know, well, actually, the word Holocaust wasn't invented yet. But, you know, we went through World War II. We suffered a lot. We don't need these people in our community. And they started to sue, and the ACLU sided with the Nazis.
Yeah.
Because it's a matter of free speech.
Yeah.
This time,
If it was a constitutional matter of free speech, that's exactly what the ACLU was supposed to be doing.
Exactly. Well, when the alt-right went into Charlottesville to protest there, and the governor set up a state of emergency, the ACLU said, tough shit, free speech. We're not going after this. You're out of luck. Because we've been told by our donors that they're not going to donate to us if we defend you.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it right there.
Yeah, see, I just don't think the ACLU is there to stand up for free speech anymore.
No, it's not.
And that's, I mean, if we don't have freedom of speech, we don't have it. We don't have anything. And again, it comes back to what I'm talking about, you know, if we don't have freedom of speech, that's why it's the First Amendment to the Constitution, is that you have the right to say what you feel needs to be said. Because if you don't, because that's a God-given right. That's why we're top of the food chain on this planet, so that if we see something, we can say something. If we think something, you know, that we think other people should know, we can express that to them. And if you limit that in any way, I believe you are a threat to all humanity. And it just keeps happening more and more. And again, you have to recognize who the real threats to humanity, to our own personal daily freedoms are, you know. So and that's why the ACLU or an organization like that is so important, because and again, the Nazi thing is the extreme, but you don't you know, the First Amendment isn't there to protect free speech of people that you agree with. You know, well, we can all agree this is fine speech. That's not what the First Amendment is about. It's about those fringe people who might seem a little fucking off. Okay? But if they're not actually harming anyone, and they believe that they have then they have the right to say what they feel that needs to be said. Again, which is what being top of the food chain is all about.
Yeah, well, they don't want that anymore.
No, they don't want you to be top of the food chain at all. That is the last thing they want. They want you to be a little quivering pussy, and it's fucking, you know, curled up in the corner, saying, "No, I'm one of these people, and I have my little group, and as long as I have my identity with this label that's fucking plastered right to my head, then I'll always know who I am, and I'll always know the people that I can trust, and otherwise I'm terrified constantly, and fuck." You know, so I get it. How are those people supposed to stand up? And that's the whole thing, is they're not going to have to stand up. What they have to do is they have to join in on an internet town hall on a regular basis. And then not standing up. All they actually have to do is sit down for what it is that we agree to, which means we all agree, okay, we're going to stop. We're just going to sit down. on this day, on this whatever, few days. And if that's not enough, then we'll expand it another 10 days. But will we stop everything until this is the way it's going to be? And
Yeah, but it's that process that to get there that will never happen.
well,
And
again,
that's where the
if
lobbyists come in, where the banks come
if
in,
there's not
where the
people like
corporations
if there's
come
not
in.
people like Elon Musk, who you brought up, working on it, or whatever big brained other purpose, I don't think it's going to take Elon Musk being distracted from his little space project and his little electric cars. It's not going to take Elon Musk. It's going to take the next Elon Musk. Right? The one who's
Well,
coming up and really knows that this is what has to happen and has a vision for how to make it happen. Because you're out there and and we can't wait any longer, and we can't. So let's start making this happen. Okay?
yeah. Well, you gotta have
But
the moral high
I'm
ground.
saying the same damn thing about fucking the sewer system, where when it rains too much, people drown. Why the fuck are we living in the fucking 1800s? When it rains too much, it drowns. What the fuck is that, people? We deserve, that's ridiculous. Okay, this is the 21st century. We're gonna have flying cars anytime now, according to the fucking news. Okay,
It'll
but
be driverless.
yeah, and they'll be driverless. Exactly. See, she knows what I'm saying. So, but if it rains too much, people are gonna drown. That's all there is to it. What the fuck is that? Give me a break. Where are the people that are supposed to be the smart ones working this shit out? And why don't we have the priorities to make it so that when it rains too much, people don't drown? What the fuck?
Well, I'll tell you this, okay? There's this brief period in history between the 40s, 50s, and 60s where you had this thing called the middle class, where you had what was called the American dream, where you had what everybody thought was, you work an honest day and you got an honest dollar. That period in history, in all of history, in human history, is so brief, it's not even a blip. Most of human history has been winners and losers, kings and peasants, serfs and, feudals. And and they want to go back to that old way. They like that old way. And as far as the First Amendment goes, well, you get rid of that and you'll get the Second Amendment next.
Well, that's why
And that's the one
that's
thing
why
they
we
want to
have the
end.
Second Amendment. People don't understand. That's why we have the Second Amendment. Okay, the founding fathers were fucking brilliant, and they said, first and foremost, you have the absolute right to express yourself in any way you see fit. And second, no one will ever be able to take that right away from you. And that goes for all the other rights because of the Second Amendment. Of course, we don't have the Fourth Amendment anymore, other than
No, that's right.
in spirit, but
Yeah.
it really doesn't exist anymore.
No, you're right.
And
It's gone.
yeah, and
But see, the thing is, they tried for how many decades to get rid of guns, or to at least really limit them down to almost nothing, and they had no luck.
yeah,
So what they decided to do was, if you can't talk about your gun, then you can't, you don't know how to do it.
yeah,
And if you can get rid of free speech, and then you can limit speech to, you can't have talk about guns, that's how you get the guns. And that's the only thing they have left. They had to go after the First Amendment, and they're trying to do it with this bullshit hate speech, which the Supreme Court has ruled doesn't exist in 7 cases.
yeah.
It has more standing behind it as law than the abortion, than Roe v. Wade. And yet they're trying to take the First Amendment away through every single avenue of
They're
politically correct
chipping away
culture.
at it. I mean, this thing with Alex Jones and the BDS and all this stuff. It's not just and you know, in 2004 during the election, they had free speech zones where you know, outside the
I know.
the conventions. I mean, you weren't
I
able to
know.
go and
That
speak.
was Obama.
So. No, 2004 was Bush and Kerry. Bush and Kerry, yeah. All right, so I gotta go. I gotta get. I have.
No, it's a good
I got somewhere I
conversation.
gotta go. So,
Okay.
it's really nice to hear from you. Thanks so much for calling. I hope you like the new studio. And
Yeah, well, what I see so far looks really cool.
yeah, well, it's gonna get better. I think
care.
we'll start adding some news clips and stuff like that here in the very near future.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very good. Good luck. Good luck.
All right,
I'll talk
thanks.
to you later.
Thanks so much for calling. Okay, so I have to go to the store and it closes at 10 o'clock. So I got to run. So thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you guys like what you see. As I told you, we're moving forward with this thing. And if you want to show some support, it's easy to do. You can give a contribution at moxnews.com. Or there's clickable links in the description box of this video. So please, you know, Mox News survives solely on contributions from good people like you, and we're trying to do what you guys want. You know, it seems like this is what this is the direction we need to go. So don't you think? So thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll do this again Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific until whenever. I'm going to cut it a little short tonight because I got to go to the store. So thanks so much for tuning in. And tomorrow night we'll have sharks with freaking lasers, okay? So thanks so much to Craig, and thanks to all the callers and everybody who joined in. It's always better when you guys are here. It would be completely meaningless without you. So stay cool. Oh, and I want to tell you something. This is pretty good. This Goldfinger joint is pretty good. So that's all I want. Just so you know, we're doing it. It's like a review thing kind of too. So, you know, it seems like it's pretty good. I don't know about a $12 joint, but it seems pretty good. All right. So stay cool. Wednesdays, this war is going to end. Stay cool till that day. Okay. See you tomorrow. Same Mox News time. Same Mox News channel.